Okay guys, once again, welcome to my shop. See what I can do about this little 2.5 horse. Trying to help a guy out. He cleaned the carburetor on this thing and he said he couldn't get it running, and he brought it to me, and I actually went through the carburetor myself. The first problem I have with this engine is that our diverter valve down here that turns the fuel on and off was actually completely clogged up. So I dismantled that diverter valve and I got the fuel flowing again. He's also put a new fuel pump on here, and it still will not run. Carburetor was pretty raggedy inside. Went through it as thoroughly as I could, but really just couldn't get good results out of it. So for kind of a Hail Mary, I guess, we're going to try one of these cheap carburetors off of Amazon. I don't like to do stuff like that, but the factory carburetor for the thing is probably like $300, and the motor's probably only worth $300. So rather than discarding this motor, we're going to try one of these cheap carburetors on here. So to take this carburetor off, we're going to need 10mm socket, and we got to pull the gas tank off first so that we can get access to it. There's 3 10mm bolts on top of the gas tank. I'm going to pull those. Once you've got those 3 10mm bolts off, you can lift this tank up, bring it to the side. We don't necessarily need to remove it from the engine. It'll hold itself in position right here. Just want to make sure you don't have too much gas in it where it's going to spill out. We got a linkage right here for the choke. We have our throttle linkage right here. So and this is our fuel line. So to get the fuel line off, you're going to squeeze this clamp in, pull it down. I am kind of curious to see if this cheap carburetor actually comes out good. I understand they're not the same quality, but it's pretty interesting how exact it looks to this carburetor. On the top there are also 2 bleeder lines. These are overflow lines that'll go down into the cowling in case the carburetor overflows, to keep it out of the cowling area itself. Now we got 1 10mm bolt right here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this top one right now. This is the hold down for your choke cable. And also on the top we have a vent line, or a recirc, that recirculates unburnt fumes and emissions back into the intake. And back here we have 1 more 10mm bolt that holds the entire carburetor on, as well as this airbox assembly, or this inlet assembly. Remember to pull your lines off. This one I'm just pull out of the cowling. Now if you'll take this carburetor and kind of roll these out of here, same with this one, you're gonna finagle the carburetor around a bit, and you can get this one out of there. Okay, so there's our carb. There's also a heat shield and 2 gaskets that were behind this carburetor that fell, and they're being stubborn. Okay, so there's the heat shield and 1 gasket, and our other gasket's down here. Now the customer had both gaskets on one side and then the heat shield up against the carburetor, and I'm pretty certain that that's not correct. If you look here, you see a little indentation. It matches this, the curve in the gasket. So I believe that 1 gasket goes on each side and the heat shield goes in the middle. I'll look at the schematics for the heck of it, but I'm pretty certain this is how it goes. Alright, so we got a carburetor off. Let's unbox our Amazon Beauty here. This thing's about 40 bucks, and it's a good cheap alternative. These small engines or carburetors get pretty trashed pretty easily. and sometimes they're very uncleanable, like this one here. And it's a shame because this carburetor looks beautiful, you know, but on the inside it looks like crap. Let's see. Alright, and this is the new one. Now, yeah, that's very similar. It's not exact. See here, it's got a breather jet here, and the air mixture's up here. That's where the air mixture's on the side of this one. Our inlet's the same here for our overflow. The other overflow comes out of the front of this one. So they're not identical, but they're very close. So we're going to change it out with the same process. Place this through here. Yes, through here. And we're going to take our gaskets, and they're going to go just like this. And before you put this on, you're going to want to put this through here. You won't be able to get that on afterwards. And line it up. I also want to put my overflow. This one's stubborn. Whenever you get these stubborn lines, it's a good idea just to grab some pliers and give it a little twist to help break the seal. You start yanking on it, it's just going to end up damaging the hose. And this one is super stuck. Sometimes I'll take some cutting pliers and get the flat surface just behind the line and give it a little nudge. That can help as well. Old fuel and vapors and stuff creates a kind of like a glue. So this one actually comes out the same way as the new one as well. So that's really cool. I thought that was different, but it's not. Alright, I'm going to run this down into our cowling down in there. There's a little hole down in the bottom of the lower cowling that the hose goes through. And it can be a bit of a pain. If you get it through there, you can kind of reach around and just pull it out from underneath or pull it down. Alright, let's get back in position. Going to run our first bolt in. Second bolt in. After you've gotten that, it starts to hold itself in place and makes everything a little easier. This one's going to go over here. We're going to put our fuel line on first. Pull their cap off. Fuel line back on. Our bleeder line back on. Our overflow, our vent. And we need to get our choke assembly in. Okay, once that's in, you're going to want to choke in the open position. Alright, set this down. And get that line out of the way. Okay. Little groove's going to go that direction. And run it down. Alright. Line back on. Run these two 10mm down. Okay. You take a ratchet and snug them up. Okay, so right now everything is hooked to this carburetor. I put my fuel tank back. And that should be about all you need to do to change this carburetor. I got to get some gas into it. The way these work is they pump gas as it's cranking. Runs off a pulse signal, so there's not really enough weight or gravity here to fill that carburetor easily just by turning the valve on. I believe the valve is already on, and we really weren't getting any fuel through this line because it comes uphill, and gas doesn't like to flow uphill on its own. So it may take us a minute to get this thing kind of primed up, but once it's primed up, I expect it should start. Okay, and our gas is on. Let's add some more gas to the thing. Give it a few, we've got a decent amount still in there. So make this bad boy fire up. It's hard to pull start the engine with the camera on, so I'm going to move that to the side. I don't mind sometimes a quick brief start or something dry, but it's best to always have water on it. Alright, so she runs. Are you kidding me, man? That easily? Wow, piss of water immediately. Alright, Amazon, you didn't screw up this time. Oh, wait. Low idle. Very low idle, man, but it's still running. I think I might bump that idle up just a hair, or maybe not. It's actually a pretty nice little idle. So do when we put it in gear. Oh, jeez. Pretty impressive, man. Let's see if we can, oh, there it goes. I think we maybe were idling a little too low. Okay, so this thing only has one gear forward. I guess you spin this completely around to go backwards. So let's start it back up. Alright. I'm going to bump this idle up a little bit. Sounds like we're idling at like about 400. It's a little low. That's not too bad. I'm going to adjust the idle while it's in gear a little high. I don't want to troll them too fast. Have a restart. I'm pretty pleased with that. So I think that worked pretty good, guys. If you like this type of work and this video has been helpful to you, please like and subscribe. Channel is new, still growing, and I appreciate the support. So that's the results, man. Cheap Amazon carburetor, 2.5 horsepower Mercury 4-stroke. Starts and runs beautiful. $40. Like I said, not a big fan of aftermarket carburetors, but why spend $300 on a carburetor for a $300 motor? So this motor's usable again. It can get back on the lake and do what it's going to do. Thank you guys, and have a good one.